All right, yogis, let's start standing. So I mentioned I follow this one exercise expert, I like to call him, and he's a biomechanist, right? And I like to think that they understand the body the best as far as the musculoskeletal joints and the fascia, how your body moves, biomechanical. And he's always just talking about how the functional exercise on your feet. The stuff on the floor is great, but our body is designed to be upright, doing physical things. You're not really doing physical things when you're on your back or on your butt, right? So we do some of that, but the feet, right? You have to wake up immediately and you're on your feet, needing strength and the ability to move. So whether you're ready or not, in the morning, you have to do that, okay? So let's just prioritize our posture for a moment. This is something you should not only be aware of in practicing in yoga class, but throughout your day, reminding yourself, posture. Posture starts in the feet, you know, how your feet articulate, press down, and then it runs up the legs. And then a big part of it, some people say the main part is the pelvic tilt, think cat-cow. So if you're here, a little tuck of the tailbone. Some people tend to be here. It's a little bit of actually sticking the tailbone back, a little bit of maybe pulling the ribs in or lifting the heart, shoulders back and down. The head tends to go forward, we pull it back. Posture practice never stops. It doesn't matter how athletic you get or how, you know, think good you are at it. There's always something to work on there. So let's be wise about it and remember that's the priority. Then we go into our breathing. Once you have more intention and awareness in the structural body mechanics, then you go to that breath energy level. Big inhale into the abdomen, chest, back, body, underarms. Big exhale. In fitness, someone who's never done yoga, they'll call it isolated breathing practice, where you attempt to do nothing else but focus on your breath. So you're not even really worried about posture at that point. It's like you're going to school, right? You know, you're learning English and you give all that focus. But when you go to math, you got to focus on math. You can't be thinking about English. And they're both part of the process, and it's important. And they link for a healthy, like well-rounded mind state, but in education. But there's comes a time when you got to separate the two. But then you take your SATs and you're questioned on both, right? So, you know, they both play a role, but then you give focus to one of them. All right. First movement. Squatting. This is the number one. Now, how do you want to squat today? Inhale, exhale. It's for my gentle people, it's posturing, chair. Posturing, chair. And you got to bring a lot of integrity into your belly. For my people going a little bit more movement-based, arm swings. I am sore as heck yesterday. I ended up working out twice yesterday. And it was double leg day. I did some arms pulls and I did a lot of core, but it was a big leg day for me. And my squat can't be as deep right now. So I want you to work your squatting. Inhaling down, exhaling up is usually the krama, which means that's the first level. The concentric contraction is the exhale, which means the force back up with the weight, okay? Get your squatting in. Now just notice your form. If you still think posture, notice your knees buckling. Knees are over toes. You don't want your knees going forward. You don't want your chest going too forward. When you're studying squatting, yogis, I've watched videos on it and I studied the biomechanics. There's something called a low bar squat. It more represents a deadlift where you do actually hinge. So, you know, you could squat like this where you're like touching the ground and then reaching up. In high bar squat, the bar's up on the neck, you don't want to go forward. When low bar, it's on the lower upper back, you do hinge. See that? It's not wrong to hinge, bring your chest forward. If you're doing it unintentionally, that's when I don't like it. You know yoga. What are you doing on autopilot, unconscious? Yoga, in a sense, is making what you're doing more conscious. You're not just kind of blindly following others. You are making informed decisions based on awareness, meditation, cognitive function, critical thinking, logic. You're not just going through the motions. Next exercise, get into that twist. Okay, now this is my light version, guys. I am really hurting right now. So this is me right now. And this is actually, this is like a lot right now. So I'm going soft. I did 5 really long sets of locust and cobras yesterday. So my lower back is like, whoa, it's sore and tight. In a good way though. It's not like an unhealthy sore. And even just that is a lot. So there are days, even though you might be super capable, you got to recognize your conditions. Okay. You're feeling good. You might go like this. You're really getting the core. We're going to do something like that in a moment though. So you got time. All right. Now we go back to straight forward and back. I did squatting. This is different. It's more hinging. It's not really knee bending, right? There is a knee bend, but it's the hinge. Wait, I said it's not really hinging. It's not squatting. Inhale, hamstring tension. Remember, hamstrings are a key core muscle, yogis. Posturing. I reverse the breath there on purpose so you can just get a different aspect of training in the body. Really, you inhale down first. Remember? Concentric, eccentric. I'm leaning my weight to my toes, where squatting is leaning my weight into my heels. Now, that's not really always accurate either, but I want to give you some structure to train with intention. So as I hinge, which means it's happening at the hips, your upper body goes like that. You're inhaling first. Remember, you got to keep that belly in, guys. And you got to have a lot of integrity in the legs. It's not about doing a lot of reps. It's about feeling the body and enhancing that neuromuscular connection. You know, that's why, you know, I tend to like listen to, I was listening to lectures last night while I'm exercising and music and stuff, but you know, a lot of times I have to like take my headphones out and like I'm doing my cobras. I gotta really like feel all my back muscles. Yeah, it's good to use that stuff and music to get you inspired, but then sometimes you gotta really slow it all down and feel more, right? Next exercise, this is our fundamentals, yogis, our lunges and hinging. This I gotta keep hammering this idea home. Is the lunge, but I'm gonna do the knee thrust, one-sided today. I'm gonna inhale to my lunge, exhale, inhale, exhale. Now it can be like this, and I'm always doing this, yogis. I'm pulling the belly in, okay? It's all pulling in. Look at that arm movement, look at the body, a lot of movement, okay? If you want a little bit more, watch what I can do here. I inhale, I can like twist to the left, a little twist to the right, look. That would be more core. Doing it forward and back is like being on your body and going like this. Twisting is like this, right? Like you're adding a more complex range. It's not like one's better. I often always twist in the beginning a lot. Lunge, twist away, knee up, twist towards. Easier. Last few. Hopefully I'm heating you up a lot. So when we come down and do our plank work, our back work, and our abs and hips, you're really warmed up and the blood has flushed. Can we do our second side, please? Posture and breathing, yogis. It's okay to take it easy. You have to remember to move your body a lot regularly. Slow yoga is not adequate for optimal exercise for longevity. If you want to keep your brain young, if you want to live long and feel good, you must move your body. Slow yoga with me a couple times a week is not nearly enough. Neither is just walking, yogis. right? And I'm not, just saying what the truth is. If you do a little stretching, a little strengthening, movement is a different aspect of exercise that needs to be done well and often. Okay. So you're doing your lunges and your knee thrusts. It's a really nice exercise to do, and we do it in many ways. All right, so I want to go for the first stretch, but I'm really going to bring it down here because I want to get the truer path of the active twist, and then you're going to get your arms going like this for the first time, okay? Feet parallel, nice and wide, big inhale, and let's forward fold. Don't forget to add things like this if you want, yogis, or pull on the floor. Yogis, I have certain days I don't really stretch that much. There'll be whole days I don't stretch, and then there'll be days I only stretch. So you don't have to do everything every day. I like to be well-rounded. I did a lot of core, I did a lot of legs and arms yesterday. I moved pretty good amount too. And now I'm going to use my exercise today to kind of work off of what I did yesterday, right? So now here's the exercise I want to see, yogis. Lengthen your core. Think tabletop in the spine. Inhale, right arm out and up. I want strong legs. It's like, right, you can bend your knees. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. If you want a little bit more, guys, you thread the needle and you repeat to further range. This is a really fantastic style of twisting that we don't do often enough. Remember, longer spine initially is better. It's safer. You do actually want to start to round and arch a little bit. It's almost like you're doing a very subtle cat-cow, because that's how all twisting is. We can train optimal body conditions all the time, but that's not life. You're training yourself to bend over more like this, but when in reality, you kind of do round. You can train your body to do that. It's not wrong. It's just more likely to injure. And as an exercise, it's more advanced. It's more challenging on the body. I bend over with a rounded spine all the time. Does that mean everyone should do it all the time? No. Does that mean I do it every day? No. Okay, so you make sure you do your second side, yogis. Some of you are doing one side, okay? I think one of the biggest errors, the more advanced you see exercisers get, the more open-minded they are. The beginner is taught all these rules because beginners need that. They need structure, they need guidance, they need kind of to be told stuff is wrong so they don't go there in the beginning. But then the beginner gets trapped in that. And then all of a sudden you've been exercising for 20 years, you're still thinking like a beginner. How you approach the body has to evolve. Courage, yogis, is so key in this process, to be brave about it all. Or else, all those other forms of discipline can't really manifest. You got to be brave. So now we come up, and then the legs were straight, and it's a little bit medial. Now we go lateral bend. So this is a big one. I want you to hold the squat. This is the key exercise for the core. Remember, our core is a lot of hips. If you have back pain, be a little easy here because this rotates around the sacrum. Okay, remember we did this one the other day? That's that same leg position. This can tense up people's back if you're not doing it often. I'm going to do the side bend. It looks like this. Now you're feeling good. It's more like the forearm. You do this in warrior 2 and side angle. Look, all the time in yoga, right? This is our first big side body opener. A little easier is here. You're not worried about going down. You're lifting up and over. Okay? Now you're feeling really good. We do it like this. It's more strength. I've had you hold in here, right? Come on, make it quality. Some of this exercise has to be risky. I don't teach like the fear-based yoga, like everything is always as safe as possible. I don't think that's a healthy mind state. It comes back to courage and growth. In my opinion, a big way to make people change is to have them like suffer in a healthy way. Our life is now always trying to avoid that suffering. Okay, listen, you did rotations, you did laterals. Now stand up. You might be feeling it. A good thing to do, guys, if you're having anything going on, see how I just this is called tapotement. You kind of give your muscles, not the bones. You can do your bones too, but muscles, you kind of give yourself a little massage. See that? That's a really good method to reduce pain. One-legged hinges. I'm not going to have you do it. We already did this. The knee came up. We don't need to go there. I want you to bend over one more time. Hands on the hips. Left hand toward right foot. In front of it. Boom. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Get it going. One-legged hinges. If it's easy, you close your eyes. Beginners definitely bend the knee, extend the knee. You will do it straight leg. I do straight leg hinges all the time. Would I suggest that to a beginner with back pain? Absolutely not. Back pain people, don't round your spine. Keep your spine engaged, right? Basically an extension. Bent knees, long spine, it starts. Then it's like straight leg, long spine. Then it's like bent knee, round spine. And then the final, straight leg, round spine. And then there's even more after that, right? Granted, that last couple of options, there are very athletic training. That's how I would train an athlete, because an athlete puts their body through the most extreme conditions to win, compete, perform better. So their objective is different than if your goal is to feel good. I'll let you decide what your objective is, and I'll mention the different styles. I'm not here to judge you and tell you one is better. If you want to enjoy life and play a sport, wonderful. If you want to just focus on longevity, wonderful. Make sure you do the second side now, guys. Ideally, you're hitting, like I always say, the standard is like 15 reps. We are doing body weight exercise. If our goal was bone building, max hypertrophy, I would say max weight, minimal reps. That's why weightlifters, they're doing their bench and squat and deadlift. They'll do 1 rep, 1, right? Because that's fast twitch muscles. You'll get max. Hypertrophy means the growth of muscle. If you want to look swollen and big, it's more weight, less reps. And it's there's a few other things there, but for just functionality of muscle, you've heard it. People do like less weight, more reps, and it's like toning, and it makes the muscles grip the bone better, stabilize the joint better. Right? Bodybuilders have been shown not to have very stable spines. They have huge muscles, but they're not like a functional joint stabilizing state. You hear it all the time, these weightlifters, their spine snaps, right? Because their muscles outgrow the functionality of this joint stabilization. Depends on what your goals are, guys. There's a different way to the mountaintop. Let's make our way down, guys. However you want to get there. We already kind of did this in the straddle. You're more than welcome to. You know me, I like to squat every day, some way. Okay, so you already did moving squats. I did legs yesterday, so I need this stretchy squat. You did multiple hinges, so you don't need to touch your toes, maybe. Okay, I'm gonna make it back to the dog and pedal my feet out. So get into your dog and explore. You could lift a leg, you could lift your heels, drop them to the right for a side stretch. You could even shift forward and back, plank dog for a dynamic. approach, because we are going to go into like planks. So it's first inversion hold. You got a little bit in the forward bend. Even though it's a core class, we want to make sure, I want to make sure that you're getting inverted every day, basically increasing blood flow to brain, maintaining that position. Deep inhale in your nose, increasing the oxygen into the bloodstream. We know, yogis, they've done these tests, they increase blood flow to the brain. It just like lights up and everything fires better. And it's like, all your neurons just wake up and turn on and connect, and it's like a party in there. So you're training basically that process of getting more oxygen to you're using the position in your intentional breathing to increase the functioning of the brain. Right? You see these like NFL players, they're like sprinting, like exhausted. They just like sprinted and got ran over by another guy. They're out of breath. They take one breath of full oxygen on the sideline. They go from, they take one breath, they're like this. They catch their breath in one breath due to oxygen, right? So that's incredible. Plank pose, please. All right, plank. Let's work here. Holding plank is the work, yogis. So is holding down dog. We've entered the work part. Right foot might hover. You want to pull your belly in, posterior tilt, think cat hips, spread your upper back. So as you're lifting your upper back, protraction, okay? It's not a neutral plank core class. You're feeling really good, you might throw your left arm forward. So if your right foot hovers, left arm forward, on a good day, it's balancing plank. So it's not just like this tight, strict hold. You become more unstable and you work that, okay? You could do push-ups also. That is a style of plank. What are you working on in your plank? Do you want to do a little forehead and elbow to knee stuff? Do you want to do hover your right foot, bring it into that? We have all regulars. There's only 5, 6 people here today. I want you to get into your plank, do something you don't do a lot if you're feeling good. If you're feeling not good, maybe a little easy plank on the knees, on the forearms. That's often called gentle plank. I'm going to try to give you another good minute here, guys. If you're doing something one side, maybe you take a break and do the other side with a lot of intention and effort. I often tell you, plank's a little too easy for me, only because I do it regularly. I'll usually handstand instead, or I'll rep out a lot of push-ups, or I'll do like knee, forehead, leg lifts. I add something. I just don't hold static plank. But on like a day where I'm like really sore, injured, I will hold a static plank. It's more like a therapeutic to me. I'll hold like a forearm plank, and I'm working on like pulling my belly and squeezing my butt and linking all that engagement from something that's like been strained or pulled. I use it a little bit more as a therapeutic personally. So we're going to stay with front body tension because standing was a lot of back body tension. We're going to take this right into another exercise. Remember, you don't even need to be warmed up for what we're about to do. We've done enough, okay? So this kind of goes together. We're going to drop down to the knees. Now, this is totally actually good for people with back pain, right? So what you don't want to do is this. What you want to do is squeeze your butt maximum, press your feet down, lean back. Look at that. I lean a couple inches back. I'm not over straining. I'm working on squeezing my butt more, having good posture here, right? And I lean back and I feel everything in the front light up. Okay? And then I take a little breather, I come back up. And then I go here and I hold again. You think of it like a plank, yogis. All right? You get in position and you hold. The key, I can't say it enough, is to squeeze your butt. Now, The beginner, you just do like 3 rounds. If I'm with a personal client and it's their first time ever doing this, I do like 3. And I try to just have them not go very far, and I have them try to get hold longer. And I like poke their butt, right? To make sure that's happening. I also like put my hand on their abdomen and pull in there. Have you noticed a trend? Belly in, butt engaged in every exercise we've done? And then after years, I'm gonna have to say, okay, you gotta relax your butt a little bit. Maybe, right? So you gotta break from weight bearing on the arms after the long dog and the long plank. I wanna go back to weight bearing on the arms. I wanna go side body. Side plank, forearm side plank. Easier is this. Maybe a little bit of this. You want more of this. This is the easiest in the true side plank is this. They teach this in physical therapy, yogis. It's for people that are coming off spinal surgeries. Granted, it's usually second or third tier. It's after your first couple tiers of physical therapy. What am I going to do here? Pull my belly in and squeeze my buttocks. I am not defensive in exercises. I am resting enough to assert my body well into our actions. I try to encourage you to back off and rest a lot, yogis, because I'd rather have you do half of this stuff really well than think about trying to do a lot of it and be kind of fatigued and frustrated and just trying to just get through it, right? There are certain days for that, but we want to teach our body muscle memory, not just like this strenuous fatigue style engagement. Assert into the form. It's the same with running. If you jog and assert into it, as opposed to defensive like struggle, it affects your body completely different. Okay. Second side when you're ready. We're doing side plank work here. You guys know it. It's just foundational. You can do things like twisting. We're going to do twists in a moment, but you can do things like twisting. You can do lateral movements. You can do fallen triangle. That's where your bottom leg is in front of you. Your sole of your top leg is pushing down the foot. So you're getting your inner thigh a little bit more. It's a good one. I do side planks like, almost every day. Not every day, but, 3-4 days a week. And it is a strength thing, but it's also just body weight. What do they say? Like 60% of the body weight is being worked here. It's very doable, but also very challenging. Okay. Now, I do want to do one more front body tension. All right. Same exercise. Now, we eventually do this in one leg, just to be clear. I don't think many of us should start going here yet. You're going to get a lot of psoas tension. I want you to get really good at this. This is from knee therapeutics also. Whenever you work with athletes who are runners and jumpers, this is a foundational exercise for just function of the body, right? So we're not doing this. You're squeezing your butt, posterior tilt, chest lifts, and then you're leaning back. And you're holding. You get to that edge where it's almost like you're not going to make it anymore, and you come back up. You give yourself a moment. What do you work towards? 3, 6, getting up to 12 to 15 is the standard. I have this exercise in my, it's kind of like a day off list. That's what I'm kind of using it after plank holds. It's just like a partial body weight. It's on my easy exercise days. What I mean by that, it's just not like a peak day exercise. Peak the exercises. This is reverse Nordic, it's called, or tension lean. And then true Nordic is on my strong days. That's where you hook your heels and lean forward. Back line. There's this one Nordic specialist guy. You can do one-legged, full range Nordic curls. I can't get there yet. One day. If you don't know Nordic hamstring curl, look it up. It's basically the best hamstring trainer there is. If you need an exercise, it's like sliding bridge in a sense, or standing and going like this, but with all your body weight. Okay, so last plank work, last plank go here. I mentioned doing a twisting plank or a twist. I really like this exercise. I don't think I teach it enough. It's not like classic yoga, but you're here. I'm going to bring the wrists a break because you just did 200. You go kind of side. People with back pain, extra caution, maybe just hold. Okay. Being on the knees here, it's not my favorite substitute. Okay. You go here, heels to the side, heels to the other side. I like to hold a lot, yogis. You really get the muscle fire in there. If you needed a different, when you have back pain, you do want to maybe do a little less twisting. Think about twisting more to release, and think more front and back symmetries. Like I said, I'll use plank if my back hurts, actually. I won't do really strenuous. So if you maybe just one more little easier plank. It's weird, you wouldn't think of that, right? Like plank for a therapeutic. Tighten everything up together. We're going into back body next, yogis. So we did a lot of front body tensions and laterals. Now we have to hit the back. Right? It's like this. Some people call it like the love handle, right? It's like this oblique connection running down here. Remember, you got the 2 layers of obliques. So you have your ones that go like this in your abdomen. They connect to your xiphoid process. That's right here at the diaphragm, base of your sternum. Your sternalis connects there, and it goes to the outer hip, right? And then you have your other obliques. They go like this. They go from the outer ribs down to the more pubic bone area. That's important to remember when you're choosing your oblique trainers. This is a fantastic oblique trainer. So is plank, so is side plank. We hit them both well. Listen, we're gonna lower down to the chest. You can do vinyasa chaturangas if you want today. I'm gonna skip it. I know you're doing lots of those a lot of days. So let's lower down to our chest. Take a moment to shake it out. Now I want to go into the lower back trainer. I said I did like 5 or 6 sets yesterday. I went huge yesterday with this stuff, right? I did a few here. I did a few rounds here where I'm like holding and I'm going up and down. I did some rounds here. I did some rounds here. And I did some with the leg lift too, right? So I often have you break it down and then put it together. Let's do it. Hands here is easier, okay? Hands here is a little more. Hands here is a little bit more compound. I'm gonna keep my feet down, lift my chest. I must have done like, almost 100 reps of this stuff last night. My back doesn't hurt at all. I felt it like tight because it's strengthened so much in here. Yogis, you're keeping your feet down, engaging your legs lightly, pointing your toes, engaging your thighs, pressing your pubic bone down. As you strengthen your lower back, you're learning to engage your legs. Your lower back never stabilize. I mean, if you're seated, that's a different story. But when you're on your feet, your lower back's always working with your legs. Your abs are always involved. You pull the belly in. You're lifting your upper body up. More challenging, you're doing something like this. It's face pull. I said postural correction, face pull. And then you lower down, and you lift up, and you're kind of like that. You can also go down a little bit. That's depression of the scapulae. Okay. Sure, I was like reaching out, going down, and I was lifting the chest, kind of going like that. My other favorite postural correction is like this. So you lower down like this, and then you lift the chest, and you're like that. and you release down, and you feel all the upper back connecting to the middle back and lower back. Okay, I'd like you to do a good 6, 12, 15, take a breather, do one more. Remember, yogis, bridge is not really that great of a lower back trainer. It is more like posterior hips and hamstrings. If you do bridge a lot, you'll notice if you do it in certain ways, your lower back can like almost ache doing bridge, right? That's because it's not engaging well. This is really engaging your lower back well, right? Now, you don't need to go too high. You don't need to go fast. Some people do this like really fast. That is more advanced. Take a rest, and I want you to do one more solid round. Now, we do add laterals, right? You lift in cobra and you kind of go like that. Extension and lateral is a good way to hurt your back. It's advanced training. Come on, train your lower back, yogis. You know what to do here. You should be doing this one probably, twice a week. This is also another one I have on the list of easy day. I did it last night. I did squatting during the day, all my forearm and wrist trainers. And then in the night, I did band work, lower back, a lot of abs, calf raises, pulls. This is on an easier day, okay? Now, the next part is the glute isolation. Your glutes connecting to your lower back is the key for the healthy back, because I often say lower back and hips are the same thing, okay? So the way I like to train you guys in this, now I've had you do like isolated, like one leg. That's good, but I like to do the double leg. It just basically stabilizes the sacrum a little better. You notice which leg is weaker. I like to lift the chest, arms forward to create length. Legs lift, legs lower. This is core 101, yogis, right here. Try to lift the femur bone. That's the thigh bone, the knee, via the hip. You still got to try to pull your belly in a little, yogis. It's tough. It shouldn't be a very big movement, most likely. Try to slow down your mind and really connect to the butt. I was trying to mention that. You got to tune in, step into that moment, feel your body. Like with a client, I might keep a finger here and here. It's kind of lower sacrum. And I'm saying, you feel that right there. And then, this is not a great place to touch on somebody, but right against the coccyx, it's like the bottom of your butt, right here. I'll push it there and I'll say, okay, try to engage that, which means you got to go up and in a little bit. So, just try to notice that. Where are you good at activating your butt? Because what happens is we train butt a lot and people hit the upper outer too much. And then that butt work causes back pain and achiness. But if you try to engage your butts and your glutes in a way where you're going down and in, like in against the sacrum, like inner butt cheek, and down, it won't be so darn tense up here, yogis. So it's not just working on engaging the muscle, but refining how. I tried to talk about how the glute is 4 quadrants: upper, outer, lower, and inner, okay? And everything in between. It's a very complex place to train. Okay, you got one more round, and it is the full. If you're done, that's okay. You did 3 rounds. After this, we're gonna be on our back, all right? So you're like this. I like to go up and pause on this one, like a plank for the back body. Usually plank is forward arms, front shoulders. This is back arms, back legs, back body, okay? And then I'll lower down, and then I'll lift. Like athletes, they go fast. Because athletes train fast twitch. So this is our last round. You should be a little intimidated here. It should be a little too much. That's very key, that the teacher pushes the practicing person. I hate the word student. I don't like calling myself teacher and student. I'm just another student, just a little bit further on this path, maybe in this exercise thing. It's important that the leader pushes the people in the class a little further than they want to go. That's how you're going to grow, yogis. It's not by repeating what you can do. All right, you have to attempt what you can't. I keep talking about courage. How do you teach that? How do you teach somebody to be brave when they get a little weak, you know, mentally or physically? That comes from within. All right, so listen, maybe a little child pose. Looks like a lot of these are done. So a little child pose. We only have like one more tier of class, guys. We're not standing you up again. All right, so we're gonna come from child pose and basically lay on our back. Now, yogis, you were just doing like static holds here. A lot of these did static hold here, twist. And then you did like the back movement. So it was a lot of front. You lean back, you had the tension through here. Now we go dynamic abdominals. We really haven't done it. You know, so just go slow. Back pain people, this is for training your back. It's for healing it. You go forward like this and you hold. Okay? More athletic here. Way more athletic. Here. Okay, and more. Lift pelvis, lift shoulders. Triple body. Max crunch. First thing is symmetrical leg swing. Or leg lever. The first thing I show for the therapeutics is leg lever. They have people coming off spinal injuries do it. So if you think you're in a worse condition than them, you're not. You just have to do it really slow and do a couple reps. If you're coming off an injury, like I said, you do 3 reps, you do 6, really slow, okay? So basically leg swing represents your core, learning to control the weight of the legs in movement. That's called life. And now the next thing would be closed chaining or just holding your legs and then doing the crunch, right? So you hold the static crunch in the athletic form. I'm going to teach the big dynamic one. Watch me here now. After you do your leg swings, I said closed chain, you need to put your feet down. You want a little extra, you put a block between your thighs. Now I lift up and look, I lift to the center. I go to the right, center, left. A little bit more is to hover your feet, right? A lot more is to go here. Left, center, right. Look how small the movement is, guys. So you're basically in a little crunch, right? Going like this, center, left, center, right. Remember I said, if your back hurts, don't maybe do the twist. Just go straight and just stay with therapeutics, like hold a static crunch. You just hold this, like, call it low boat, but your feet are down. Like I said, you can still do a lot of stuff, but you have to really, your mind state has to change from when you're feeling good. And that's why I say you got to take advantage of good days and push it, because then you might be injured and it sticks with you for a month, you know, and then you kind of like, injuries can be good though. You have to slow down and really feel, be careful. You know, that's yoga. You're training your mind to look for the opportunity. I'm like, oh, I'm injured. Oh, great. It's a different aspect of how I have to exercise and train my body. I have to be different. Can't just go through the motions in the same subconscious pattern. Yes, I'm injured. What an opportunity. You train, it's yoga. Train your mind to look for the good. And people also that are different from you. Right, so we're doing our crunches here. Now, the big, you know me, we got to go to the big twist. You did one standing light here. Some of you did lunge. You did the twist on the plank. But now it would be the true path of the twist, like the big resisted twist. So you did a little bit of this. That's the micro twist. It's very different. Now you neutralize the spine, arms down. This is also one, guys, I gotta kind of have you do it once a week, probably, right? Inhale, hold, pull the ribs in, hold. If you want the really fit core, there's not that many great substitutes for this exercise. It kind of is in a realm of its own in yoga. You know, there's a lot of different ways we could do this, and if we had equipment. So you get into it here. You did crunches, you did your leg swings. Remember, I'm teaching to someone who's feeling good, and you know, and I want to make sure if someone who's feeling good has enough to challenge themselves, which means if you're in the middle or on the lower end right now, just be okay with skipping half of this stuff. You do not need to do it all. Now, 950. So I want you to go strong here. And then what do we do here? It'd be one last posterior chain. Remember that locust? What do we do for posterior chain, right? Squatting and posturing. We need the weight bearing posterior chain, right? So it's got to be bridge, up table, reverse plank, wheel, one-legged hip thrust. So bridge would be the final glute. I've tried to explain this in many different ways over the time. If you strengthen your butt, it will change everything. You are way less likely to get a back injury if you have a strong butt. So how are we going to do it? Bridge is therapeutics, holding, really working on refining knee flexion, posterior tilting, pronation. So that's big toe down is pronation. Pulling your heels to your shoulders and bridge is knee flexion. Posterior tilt is tailbone between your thighs. One-legged is really good if you're up for it. People in physical therapy coming off spinal injuries do that also. Angled bridge is a really good one. Soles of the feet to get your knees fall open and you lift your hips. That's more glute than regular bridge because you add rotation and abduction. You're feeling good, you come up to your butt, you put your hands behind you, you do up table or one-legged hip thrust. You got all regulars, what are you working on? This is last strenuous exercise, okay, yogis? This is a pretty strong class. I've often, like I did the band work last night. So when I was doing locust, I always had the band around my thighs. If you don't have those little exercise bands, they're like $5. You get them online. They're rubber bands that go around your knees. They are one of the best exercise tools that we don't get to use in yoga. They'll give your hips and butt a lot of form and activation ways a lot of exercises will not. Nice, Brian. That little pulse there. You know, you remember that can make your buttocks like sore against the sacrum. Remember that spot I was talking about, the inner lower? That can make that area sore for days, right? You do your one-legged hip thrust pulsing, right in here, like lower medial butt. It can be like sore for days, right? Just remember that. But that's also because you're activating a part of the glute that's not hitting enough. That's all it is. I did one-legged hip thrusts on Friday, and I squatted yesterday, and I could really feel my inner butt was hurting when I started squatting. By the end of the squatting, I didn't feel it. My 7th squat set, and I don't feel it today. It actually, the squatting with weight helped that. Activating helps reduce pain. Okay. I tried to say it in the beginning. Most times people get hurt because they're weak. And most times you heal by strengthening. Okay? So last moments here, we'll take a stretch or 2 or 3 to end class. Okay, so come on, one more good round of your bridges. Go for it. If you're done, you do a restorative bridge, that's fine. Nice, Brian. You're the only one I can really see right now. You know, an important part of a teacher, a coach, instructor, trainer is to remind the students how strong they are and their goal, remind them of their goals when they get weak in the exercise in the class. And how do you inspire yourself? Do you have a system you inspire yourself? My girlfriend thinks I'm weirdo, but I regularly watch videos on YouTube of kids that are less fortunate than me, people with disabilities doing these amazing things. And it gives me goosebumps, almost makes me cry. You know, I got to remind myself how fortunate I am, you know, to have healthy body and limbs and mind. I literally, in the last 3 days, have watched every single day of people with disabilities doing these miraculous things with their brains and their bodies. And it helps keep, you have a process of remembering your gifts and your blessings. It's so easy to get caught up in the drama of life right now and forget about big goals and the work, to forget about the blessings. A big part of yoga is creating a system, a method of remembering the blessing. Okay, we're going to stretch, yogis. I would probably do a figure 4. We didn't really do much rotation in hips. So I'll teach rotation hips since we did straddle forward fold, hinging, down dog, one-legged hinging. We don't need to stretch our hamstrings. So I would do figure 4 Gomukhasana. I will give you a couple breaths there, and then I'll go medial rotation. So we'll hit the rotational aspects of the hip, which we are lacking slightly. So remember, yogis, if your right ankle is atop your left knee, you're in a external rotation in your right hip, and then you go medial or internal rotation in your left hip. Foot to the left, right foot on outer left knee, then you knock the knees over to the right. So remember, you work here initially, and then you go here. It's not the spinal twist. You just did that. The left hip is knocking inward, okay? Then you shake it out and do left ankle atop right knee. Wow. And eventually, if your left ankle's atop your right knee, left foot on the outer right knee, and you let your knees knock left. You finish that up, something symmetrical, happy baby, or apanasana, knees into chest, massaging lower back. More advanced would be plow pose, probably not good for people with back pain right now, because that's the spinal rounding I mentioned earlier. And then you got a moment here. Do you really need it? Maybe you want a big spinal twist. I think we did a pretty good amount. Maybe you want to do a block under butt or chest, restorative fish bridge, legs up the wall. Let me give you another minute, two, to do one last pose of choice, kind of free, feel good moment. And then you'll just take a short closing meditation to end class. All right, yogis, closing meditation, please. All you do is sit and calm your nerves. It's very important. We really antagonized and irritated the body. Got to calm it all down for a few minutes. Please do not skip this part, even if it's just 2 minutes. Still and relaxed. Quiet time.